The number one player in the FCS is about to get drafted, so it's only right if he drives around his college town and reminisces about the things that he did to get him to the NFL. The most underrated player in the 2021 NFL Draft is Jorenzo Fisher. Coming out of North Dakota State, Fisher is the best FCS player in the nation, and it's not even close. He's an undersized tight end. His first two seasons were good for a tight end, recording 500 receiving yards in both seasons, but during his junior campaign, he was dominant. He recorded 67 catches, 1,200 receiving yards, and 9 receiving touchdowns. Coming out of St. Louis, Missouri, Fisher was not the most highly recruited player out of high school. He's 5'11 and weighs 240 pounds. There's not many tight ends in college football walking around with those measurements, so it's understandable that a D1 team would pass on a player for that size. But there's also not many tight ends walking around that can dominate defensive ends and linebackers in the run game while simultaneously running great routes like a wide receiver, and he has 4.3 speed on top of it, which is why I believe he's destined to succeed in the NFL. Regardless of size, a person with the physical capability that Jorenzo has will be successful anywhere, in my opinion. If he didn't play at North Dakota State and he played at a school like Alabama, Clemson, or Ohio State, then I believe that the draft hype will be a lot more on this kid. I mean, when you look at him, what is there not to like? Even though he has short arms, he's an experienced blocker who makes sure to get his hands on the defender before they could do the same. He has the speed of an elite wide receiver while at 5'11", 240 pounds. That sounds unreal. There's many times on tape where I feel sorry for defenders. A lot of times, their only options are to get ran over or ran by when dealing with Fisher. Coming out of high school, North Dakota State was the biggest school to offer him. He was offered by some smaller D1 schools like Coastal Carolina and Tulane, but North Dakota State always seemed to be home for him. They have a great track record of developing players to the pros, and Jorenzo always thought that he could be the next one. Now I know what you might be thinking. If Jorenzo was so good, why did it take him 3 years to reach 1,000 yards at the FCS level? Well, last year, a wide receiver named Daquan Rice played for North Dakota State. Daquan Rice is the cousin of Clemson star cornerback Andrew Rice, and he transferred to Florida State this season. Daquan just happened to win the Biletnikoff at Florida State, which is the award given to the best wide receiver in college football. Daquan's production at North Dakota State prevented Jorenzo from really breaking out. Before he leaves Fargo, North Dakota one last time, Jorenzo wanted to drive around the place he's been home for the past 3 years. So many memories on these streets of Fargo. Parties, celebrations after huge wins, etc. Fargo, North Dakota was a huge part of the development of Jorenzo Fisher, and he'll be forever grateful to it. Fargo doesn't have a pro team, so the entire city is huge supporters of the North Dakota State Bison. Even though Jorenzo is undersized, he's still being praised by draft analysts. I see some projecting him to go late in the first round, and others are saying that he'll go in the top 15. Either way, we'll have to wait until draft day to see where he goes.